This is the Mad Dragons Podcast. Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast. We sacked our coach. We named a team fans were largely happy with. We played a style of footy that was unrecognisable, and we found a way to win rather than finding a way to lose. However, despite the euphoria of victory and the way it was achieved, we look at the NRL ladder and see our team has slipped into last spot. Big T, have we gone over the rainbow, or are we still stuck in Kansas?
No, mate. We're on our way out, mate. We're on our way out. I'm telling you now, we'll do the Dolphins. We'll do the Dolphins on Thursday night. And then we'll do the Panthers because look, Nathan Cleary get injured in State of Origin. And then we'll do the Bunnies. Because we'll get under the Trell's skin and drive him mad. Now, we're on our way out, Donnie. We're on our way out, mate. We're on our way out.
All right. Sounds very positive, mate. One win. It's the Dragons' way, I suppose. That one win, and all of a sudden, all things are rosy, and we're buying premiership tickets. I think.
Well, if we do lose next week, I'll be sack Brian Carr for sure. Sack Brian Carr. Get him out of here. No, I'm joking. I love the guy. He's got my full support.
I don't think we need to quite come out with sell the car just yet.
That's right. Yeah. Nice one, Hasman. Nice one. I like that one.
All right. Well, we'll see if that's somebody that features in this next segment. But I don't know whether the song's going to quite ring true tonight. There might be more heroes than villains, which isn't quite the way it normally goes. But we'll get into this.
Yeah, Donnie, a little bit different heroes and villains this week. As you just alluded to, there are more heroes than bad guys this week. So the first person I want to call out had 20 runs for 150 metres, made one tackle break, 46 tackles with only one missed and one ineffective. So that's about a 96% efficiency. And he achieved all this playing a full 80 minutes, not something that he normally does. And that was due to Blake Lawrie going off with a hand injury, which will probably see him out for about 3 to 4 weeks. I am, of course, talking about Jack de Belin. I thought he was absolutely bloody sensational, as he tends to be. In fact, I was just reading before we sort of went live that Freddie's actually considering bringing him back for Origin, so it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. Now, the second hero for this week, I've got to call out Ryan Carr for his team selections, leaving Nbai out of there as an obvious plus, and also for being able to get the boys up, after the week that they've had, and get them in the sort of right frame of mind to play football. I think he should be commended for that. And the other ones I want to call out is basically the rest of the team for being able to sort of pull all that shit behind them and go out there and do the job that they did on Friday night. So that's the good stuff. Now let's get into the bad stuff. Now, the first group of people I want to call out, and I did mention this on the Tuesday show, is the entire Dragons board. Now they made an absolute schmozzle of this sacking thing with Anthony Griffin, And having done so, they've basically thrown a couple of players under the bus. Jack DeBellin was one of them. I can't remember who the other one was, who basically fronted the media and were made to field questions that they had no answers to. In fact, I'm not sure they even knew he'd been sacked at the time. Now, Andrew Lancaster and Ryan Webb should have been at that media session fielding those questions. So for that reason, they are two of the villains for this week. Now, my other villain for this week is Victor Radley, just because he's a grub and because he plays for the Roosters. So that's heroes and villains for this week. Back to you, Donnie, in the central commentary position.
Thanks very much. I'm not exactly wearing the ivory or the cream or the bone, so
or the beige.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, no, I think you certainly hit the nail on the head with a few of them, mate, and it'll be something that rings true with a lot of fans. But yeah, it's not often you do heroes and villains with a smile on your face. I might have to find a different heroes and villains intro for when we win a game, because it's a different mood. All right, now before we go into the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year voting for this round, I want to reveal the overall top 5 for the last time before the voting goes behind closed doors. From here on in, we will announce our top 3 each week, but not how many people voted for them. But before I do reveal our top 5, I might go to Chloe and ask you who you think our best 5 players have been so far this season.
Oh, top 5. All right. Well, Ben Hunt has to be in that one. I know that Benny Hunt, Jack DeBellin. Gosh, this is really hard. Maybe Blake Laurie, Salone. How many have I done now? I don't know. That's all I can think of. I'll say Sullivan.
Well, there we go. All right, that's not a bad top 5, but you're actually pretty close in terms of the players that you've got in there. Only one out of place, and that's the 5th one. So according to our panel of voters each week, our 5th best player so far has been Mika Ravaloa. Hasman actually has Mika as our best player so far in 2023. But with myself and Jesse barely having him inside the top 10. 4th in the voting is Blake Laurie. Muzzer has Blocker tied for 1st, while Chloe has the big unit languishing down in 7th overall. So Chloe, not a big lover of Blocker, but
he's just been very shy at the moment. I haven't seen anything, so now he's injured. I was. So sorry, Blocker. Sorry.
In 3rd overall is Jack DeBellin. After a slow start to the year, he's the guy that has regularly been in the votes. But Hasman had him as a hero today, but you've only given him 1 vote so far all season. So barely in your best 17 for the club. While Chloe and Big T have him within 1 vote of top spot. 2nd overall so far this year, and I think this will shock plenty, is Tyrell Sloan. A very good start to the year. He's had a couple of quiet games, leading to some fans to call for his dropping. But overall, our panel has Sloan as our 2nd best player so far this season. Chloe actually has Sloan outright 1st, and I've actually got him tied for the top as well, while Muzzer and Big T have barely found a vote for him thus far. And it should come as no surprise that in terms of consistently among our best players week in, week out, is our halfback and captain, Ben Hunt. 5 out of our 7 panellists have Hunt as our best so far this season, with only Chloe and Hasman disagreeing with him being in top spot. So everyone else has got him in top spot except for you two. And Hasman, you've just got something you want to add there, mate?
Yeah, so just on that. Now, I was mulling over, switching my 3-2-1 around, but I thought the better of it, purely because I didn't want to incur a penalty for changing things at the last minute the way that Hook did. But I was thinking about giving de Belin 3 and probably giving Sewer 2 and Sully 1, but didn't want to get offside with the review committee, as it were. So left it as it was. But lesson learned. I might even try my luck next time.
It's too late, mate. It's all locked in now. Votes are in. But Muzzer, I'll go to you. Are you surprised by any of the players in the top 5? And I suppose, do you expect the order to change as the season progresses?
No, not real surprised. Maybe Blocker. Blocker had probably 3 weeks there where we really excelled, so he might drop off a bit. Obviously, now being injured. Obviously, Hunt's going to be up there. JDB is going to be up there. I don't see it changing all that much, but we might get a couple of smokies towards the end of the year. And if we do, that's good. It just means that everybody's putting in.
Yeah, no, I think the one I could probably see changing might be Tyrell Sloan dropping down. I don't think he'll stay in second for the rest of the year. Certainly the way he has been performing, although the way he was able to finish that game on the weekend might see his confidence shoot back up again.
I can see Sullivan coming up in that order too. So because he'll start playing more time, he'll start as the year progresses. So I can see Sullivan moving up the ranks too.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that as well. And James Jimmy Gray is he keeps saying Jaden Sewer is another one that should be shooting up that list in weeks to come. And I think based on his performance on the weekend, it's certainly every chance of doing that. So we might move into the Friday night game against the Roosters. Our best for that game was actually a very tight affair in the voting, but getting the nod was Jaden Sewer. Jesse, you did have it differently, but unlike Hasman, you did decide to change your votes on the second viewing of the game, and you gave the 3 to Jaden Sewer. What was it you saw that you loved on Friday?
I liked that he ripped in. He was one of our better players. He was always ripping in, competing on every play. That try he scored 2 showed his effort. He was really ripping into those big Roosters forwards, and they're a big aggressive pack, and to have one of our most experienced forwards lead the way and do that, it was very good to see, and it's good to see him find a bit of form that's actually hasn't shown his best form, but that was a sign that he's starting to get back towards the form that helped him be a mainstay of that South Sydney pack many years ago when he was on the way to the grand final. So he's starting to find that form, I think, and it's going to be important over the next couple of weeks too, in the Origin period when with Ben Hunt away on Origin duty. Blokes like Sewer and de Belin will have to step up and lead this side.
Yeah, no, I think it was. I certainly had Jaden Sewer as our best, and I thought it was his aggression that really stood out in his game right from very early on in the contest. It just looked like Jaden Sewer was in a real mood. Like he was out there to compete. He wanted to win, and he wanted to do everything he possibly could for this side. And I thought it was a fantastic individual performance from him. It was one that I don't know whether the stats tell you the full story. I know there's certainly some people that lean very heavily on the stats, but I think in this particular game, you had to watch it to see the benefit and everything that Jaden Sewer was bringing to the side. So while his stats certainly aren't bad, I thought he had just a wonderful all-round game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring for us in the weeks to come as we move through this Origin period, where we are going to have to rely a little bit less on Ben Hunt. So that brings us to the guy that finished second in the voting, Big T. You had it somewhat differently than Jaden Sewer. You had Ben Hunt as our best. He was
Yeah.
second best overall, but why are we wrong and you right in this instance?
Oh, it was again same thing happens every week. It's backwards and forwards. Hunt de Belin, Hunt de Belin, Hunt de Belin. They're both such great players. It's so hard to choose between them. Sawyer had a great game. I think Hunt de Belin done a little bit more, but yeah, I had Sawyer at with 1 point. So yeah, it's a switch up each week between those two.
Yeah, they're certainly putting in some big shifts and some big numbers. As I say, I just really love the aggression from Sewer on the weekend. But I thought it was one of Ben Hunt's better games in the last few weeks. I think he sort of you've been not out of form, but he probably hasn't been quite as dominant as he was in this game. I thought
he still made some silly decisions in the fifth play on Friday. So he's got a lot of work to do.
I think it was a silly decision on the last play of the game, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So he got away with it, that's for sure. But went down the short side and bombed that came down 10, 15 metres out.
Who was there? Who was there? Lomax, wasn't he?
Jack Lomax.
Always there. Always there.
Climbed up above and didn't knock it on. So good on him. Third best was the other man that Big T mentioned, Jack de Belin. Chloe, you had Jack as our best. Are you surprised he didn't get more love from the rest of the panel, particularly Hasman, who gave him the hero and gave him bugger all votes?
No, because it was very hard on to choose. I had to rewatch it because I was actually on my way home from work, so I missed like the whole first half. So I had to rewatch it, and everyone actually stepped up. So I was really proud of the team. So it could have gone anyway because it was amazing how they played.
Yeah, no, I think that it's I think every week I get complaints about from people. I can't do the 3-2-1s. It's too hard. It's like whenever we win, like I want to give every player votes. They all deserve votes. And when we lose, no one deserves votes. No one was the best. They all sucked. So it is quite a difficult task, and it's an extra stressor that I add into your lives every single week. And I appreciate that you do jump in and do the job for us and give us that 3-2-1 every week. Muzzer?
Yeah, just wondering how many votes did Ryan Carr get?
Yeah, Ryan Carr had quite a few people trying to give him votes. So
It'll be up there.
Has been tried to give him one, and Mother, you said no. I want to give Ryan Carr the 3, so I had to talk you both out of it. So 4 votes for Ryan Carr, but it was again a lot of people loving the new coach. He's certainly in his honeymoon period at the moment. Let's hope that it continues for a fair while to come.
I just like how he rides it like a roller coaster. Like he's on the team, he's behind the team, he's pumping the team. When they score, he cheers. When they do something stupid, he bows his head. When he's always enthusiastic. That's what I like about Ryan Carr.
Yep, Hasman.
Yeah, I just want to put this to the panel. So after the game-winning play, the coverage went to the Dragons box, and Ryan Carr's banging on the glass, and you can quite clearly see him saying "F off." Now, does anyone know who or what was the subject of that?
I think you've misinterpreted it. He wasn't saying, "Oh, fuck off." He was like, "Oh, fuck off. That did not just happen." Like, I think it was more that kind of fuck off than him telling someone to fuck off. He was just
could
not believe what he just witnessed.
Well, it was a bit of a fuck you to Trent Robinson. Could have been.
Yeah, no, but a bit of a scoop. It was actually to Jason Rolls saying, "Fuck off, it's my job."
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, There are, of course, many ways you can support the Mad Dragons vodcast, so please choose the one that suits you best. You have the option to become a member of the show, which gets you some merchandise, among other member benefits, by going to patreon.com/the Mad Dragons vodcast and selecting the membership package that suits you. You can also go to Etsy, search the Mad Dragons vodcast, and get some merchandise. Like the shirt that I've got on here today, and I think there's probably a few other panel members that have got the Mad Dragons merch on. You can go to the Etsy store, get some merchandise, and big team.
There you go, Johnny. That's on the back. That's on the back.
That's it. Come on, Dragons fans, fire up, because the tagline for the show. There's a range of different options that you've got there in the Etsy store for whatever swag you want, or you could get in touch. So if you run a business and you'd like to sponsor the Mad Dragons vodcast, then you can get in touch with us and we can personalise a sponsorship package to suit your brand, whether that's live reads or perhaps the Mad Dragon doing a game day type video to promote your product. So get in touch with us and let us know what it is that you're after. All right. Well. We'll move now into some moments of the match, and Hazman, you I've got written here you've touched on this already, but you didn't, because you changed your heroes and villains. But the opening 7 minutes was pretty much all the Roosters. They had all the ball, all the territory, all the attack, and then Moses Sully scores a try against the run of play. And while it was a good try, were you actually happy with how we'd started?
Well, yes and no. I mean, if you want to talk about Sully in particular, his first touch was an absolute bloody shocker. Put us under a bit of pressure, which we were able to weather. And then he's rushed in. He's read the play pretty well, taken the intercept, and pissed off 95 meters downfield. Deskai was actually surprised he had the speed to get there. To be honest, I thought he would have got run down at some point. He's very much a rocks and diamonds player, as I said in the chat during the game. But yeah, I thought he had a really good game, as did most of the guys. But I was impressed with the way that they were able to weather that much sort of defence in the first 7 minutes, and then to turn that into the first points was really encouraging, and a testament to Ryan Webb and not Ryan Webb, Ryan Carr, and what he's been able to do.
Yeah, no, I think I was riding him all the way, and he did well to carry me with such speed. But people talk about the lack of speed in the Dragons lineup. I think after that, you'd have to question the speed in that Roosters lineup as well. There was no one that seemed to be making any ground on Moses Sully, and as you sort of suggested, he's not a guy that we'd expect to be blessed with that sort of speed. We haven't really seen that lightning sharp speed from him before. So it was I thought it was really it was amazing that he was able to go the full length after picking the ball up and just looking up and no one in front of him. So. Fantastic try, very, very exciting, and the Bell household was well and truly pumping at that point. Muzzer, we went up 12-0, and after another bit of Ben Hunt magic, but then Zach Lomax makes an aggressive tackle that Victor Radley didn't like, and clearly headbutts blocker. We'll talk about the Lomax tackle a bit later on. So just focusing on Radley, what was your take on his actions and the way the officials handled it?
Oh, look, it was definitely a headbutt. It's under whatever definition they want to use. The fact that we got a penalty out of it and it wasn't a sin bin was just a ridiculous disgrace. The fact that now he's facing 3 weeks for that exact indiscretion, well, it shows that they didn't want to make that decision on the field. They just, for whatever reason, to say that, what did he say? Pressure from the head or something. I don't know what the fucking excuse they made, but
he said that he led with the head. He didn't headbutt. He led with the head. Didn't headbutt, led with the head.
Well, headbutting is leading with the head.
Exactly right. That's what I
So,
said. I'm jumping up and down in the lounge room screaming at the TV. My missus goes, settle down. And I was off my face, man.
but the way they handled that was just just a disgrace.
Yeah, it
If
shows.
he comes out and gets 3-4 weeks for that, it just proves it even more.
Yeah, I thought that was a very it was uncourageous from the referees and the officials. I mean, it was an incident that required a courageous call. It required a lot of people talking about sin bins. It required a send off, like a headbutt. You're going to headbutt somebody on the field. It's a send off. See you later. Sorry, you're not coming back. That's the end of your day, and you get the next month or so off. I think even 3 to 4 weeks is a bit soft from the NRL for a guy. I know it's a piss weak headbutt, and we've certainly seen other ones in the past that have been a lot more ferocious than that. But there's no doubt at all that he intentionally leads forward with the head to headbutt Blake Laurie. Like, that's an instant send off. It has to be an instant send off in our game. That's not a sin bin. That's a complete screw up, as far as I'm concerned, from the officials. And they got it 100% wrong.
They'd rather sin bin blokes for tackling hard.
Yeah,
with aggression.
The consistency this weekend with refereeing was absolutely atrocious. Players were getting sent for one thing, and I seen Reid Marnie do a hip drop today. That wasn't a hip drop. The refereeing has been atrocious. Do you think
only this weekend?
Oh no, it's been every weekend. But I was thinking the other day, if the same two referees, because the bunker's in Redfern, isn't it? It's in the same place.
I don't know whether does that matter. I don't know.
No, but what I'm saying is, should the same two referees do every game over the one weekend to have the consistency of them in the bunker?
Yeah, just put a little cot in there in Redfern, and they can move in.
Oh, that's backwards and forwards going home, But I'm
just stay there. Just stay there. Don't need to
I'm just thinking, for the consistency, you have the same referees for every game in the bunker.
Yeah. I guess it's an option, but they've got about 45 referees that they want to give time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want consistency, why not just have the same referees refereeing every game? I mean, it's just I don't know. I think they do.
No, that's a bit different. You can't have the same referees refereeing every game. But the bunker does interfere not interfere, but just interject into the game every now and then. And if it was the same two referees for the 8 games, I think the consistency would be there a lot more.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'd bet you that it wouldn't be. Jesse?
Well, I agree. Like, I think bunker interviews way too much. You're going to get different interpretations and opinions from different referees because they're all think differently. And you're looking at you couldn't really have 2 referees for 8 games too, because they're all scattered all over the place. The games, I think
that's what Big T's saying, is that the games might be scattered all over the place, but the bunker's in the same place for every game.
It is. It's in Redford, I'm sure it is.
The bunker doesn't have to move. You can just have the same referees in the same place. They don't have to move all weekend. They can stay there. They can move in. They can get some order in some pizza and have a fat time.
Yeah.
So
there's lots of dodgy calls, and
Oh,
seriously, they've got to.
I see Todd Smith got sacked this week.
Yeah,
because of his atrocious handling the game last week.
I cringe every time that bloke gets one of our games. I think we're about none from 7 under him.
That Brisbane Penrith game the other night, there was a lot of dubious calls in that one too.
Yeah, I don't know. I sort of said it before that I kind of watch the Dragons games now, and I haven't watched a lot of other footy this weekend apart from the Dragons game. Every time I do watch a game, I end up just frustrated with the footy. Like, it's very, very difficult to watch.
It's lucky teams have a captain's challenge and don't use it early and lose it, because the referees are making that many mistakes. Like Chris Butler today, he was terrible. And I think it was in the Bulldogs game. He was absolutely atrocious today. He made so many errors, and the teams had their captain's challenge, and they challenged. And they got him right every time.
Well, he made that blunder last week, putting Bud in the sin.
Yeah. That was Peter Goff, wasn't it, last week?
No, it was Butler.
Off this week.
Was it? Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, in any case, so we'll move on from referees. Jesse, you had some strong opinions in the chat, leading 12-0, when we got a penalty with about 4 or 5 minutes before half time that we should have taken the 2. And then a few minutes into the second half, we got another chance and did take the 2. What are your thoughts on the taking of the penalty goal and when we should and when we shouldn't do it?
I think the Bennett philosophy comes into play. Whenever you get a chance at 2 points right in front of the posts or in the vicinity, you take them every day of the week. Every day of the week, because you might not score, and at least you've got 2 points in the bag, and then that could be crucial to you winning a game and losing a game. Like I remember,
even if the opposition's just had a player sent to the bin, you still take the 2 then. Why wouldn't you take your chance as a man up?
Yeah, there's certainly circumstances like that would come into it, but when it's the normal 13-13, I would definitely take the 2. Because it could be, like I said, it could be the difference between, and that's more points the opposition has to do to catch up as well.
But what if you're already leading by 14?
Yeah,
Got the camera.
Yeah, I think you still take them. I mean, when you've got the team on the back foot, then yeah, that's when I consider I'm going for the try, and they're all buggered and tired, and you just want to they're just ready to crack. That's when you look at taking the 2. Sorry, I'm taking the go for the try. But when it's a give me 2 points and teams are resetting their defense, you take the 2 every day of the week. Like I remember years ago, we play a semi-final against Manly, and we got heaps of penalties during the game, and every opportunity they took the 2. They ended up winning the game 28-0. So it adds up at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the Dragons actually made the right call on both of them for mine. I've always been a big believer. Opening 20 minutes of the game, take the 2 every time, because the defence is fresh. They're more likely to hold you out. But after that, the defence is starting to get tired. That's when you keep the pressure on. That's when you pile it on and you really try and wear them down. And again, in the second half, maybe the opening 10, 15 minutes, you think about taking the 2. But outside of that, I think you're going for the try on most occasions. Again, it's situational. I know going from 12 to 14 points certainly has its advantages, but I think the Dragons, with 5 minutes until half time, had the Roosters on the rack. The bench is all shouting, take the 2. I'm more than happy for the players out on the field say, nah, we've got this, and back themselves and try and score. Yeah, it didn't work, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think they made the right call in that situation to have a crack and to take them on against a tiring defence. And the same early in the and it also wasn't a gimme. Like, it was 10 in from touch. Like Lomax, that's the way he's kicking them at the moment. That's no gimme. So he misses that goal. All of a sudden, we're still leading by 12, and we've shown our hand that we're scared to actually try and attack the Roosters. We don't think we can score. So I think it gives the Roosters a real boost if we don't kick that goal as well. So I think there's a number of reasons why that wasn't the best way to go. I also think that the Dragons going up by 14 was the reason why the Roosters got back into this game. All of a sudden, we got up by 14, and we stopped doing the things that we were doing. We stopped doing the things that we did to get that 14-point lead. We stopped playing footy. We gone, we're leading by 14. Let's just defend this lead. And I don't think that was ever going to work. And we tried to defend that lead, and all of a sudden we found ourselves behind pretty quickly. Jesse, you had something to add there? Bit of a retort.
So it's pretty much from what we were just talking about, the 2 points. Like, I look at it too, like if it's early in the game or at the back end of the game and you're up by 6, and you want to take the 2 to get 8 in front, that's when I'd look at it as well. Or if we're 12 in front, you go 14. That's the times you do it. And then also when it's 12 all, take the 2, go to 14, 12. That's the times I'd look at it as well.
Yeah, certainly to take the lead, I think that's a good option. But Big T, going back to the first penalty goal, we didn't take. We went for the throat, but it was Junior Amone thumping one off the boot over the dead ball line. How much longer can you see Ryan Carr persisting with Junior at 5'8" if his form doesn't improve?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Who have we got to come in to replace him?
Well, Jaden Sullivan.
Oh, he's a halfback, isn't he?
Well, we've got no other 5'8". I mean, if Jaden Sullivan at 5'8", is he going to go better than Junior Amone?
I don't think he's going to go any better. Good on you, Jess. Mumbo's not going to do it. I'm glad Mumbo's out, but I think we've got to stick with Amone. We've got to hopefully get his head around away from what he's thinking. His head's not in the game.
Muzzer?
Yeah, I've been saying for a couple of weeks now. I think you've got to move him back to the 14. He did a bit last year. Hunt can move to 6 and put Buddy at 7, or either or. It's not going to really matter. But obviously Buddy will get a shot there this week, and work on that combination with Amone. So hopefully they can click this week. But the only other option is and we just joked about it, is Mbai. And if we're not going to have Amone there, then we've got Mbai pretty much.
Well, we've got a guy by the name of Paul Turner who's in our top 30. He played 6 today.
Is he going to pick him over Mbai?
Well, again, he's only 22 or something, so he's only a young bloke. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Is he going?
I don't know either.
Is he going better than Moses Mbai? We don't get to see enough of the New South Wales Cup games to be able to make a definitive judgment. He scored a good try today. He looks evasive. He showed that he does actually have some speed in the game a couple of weeks ago. Again, it's difficult to say without getting to see reserve grade week in, week out. But he's in our top 30, and Junior's not going that well. I don't know. Would you consider him?
Yeah, well, you'd have to consider him, but
like
30,
I said, so you got it, ain't you?
Well, he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you waste him other than that? If you need to use him, use him.
And Zach Herring's not in our top 30, but he's another one that I've got a lot of time for Zach Herring. I think he's very good. I think he's very solid defensively as well, which I like, which I don't really like about Junior. I think it's a big part of Junior's game that lets him down, although it wasn't that bad in this particular game. I think Zach Herring, despite the fact he's not in the top 30, we are now allowed to use players from outside the top 30. He'd be another one I'd be seriously considering as well. Hazman, you got another suggestion?
No, just off track very slightly along the same lines. So assuming that Hunt gets picked for Origin, which I get the feeling he will, now you have to think that Bud goes to 7. Now, does that mean that that Little plays the full 80, or if he doesn't, who do we have that can sort of come in and play that 14 role?
That is another question we do have a bit later on, so we might park that one and hold that for a little bit. But I'll stay with you, Hazman. So back to the penalty goal that we did take 6 minutes. So back to the penalty goal that we did take 6 minutes after we took the penalty goal. We went from 14-0 to 14-12, and with under 20 minutes to go, we went behind for the first time in the game. With all momentum seemingly with the Roosters, did you think we'd gone once again and found some way to lose?
I was thinking along those lines. I was having flashbacks to pretty much every game we played this season. So I think the turning point, I think, in this game was the introduction of Crichton, and then all of a sudden Tedesco's decided to start doing stuff. Decided to become a lot more active, and we were having a lot of trouble dealing with him. But I think, that absolutely could have gone either way that game, the way we were playing.
It's an amazing sign of a really great player when he hasn't been playing that well. He's been awful the week before. He hadn't done too much in the game against us, and then all of a sudden flipped a switch and became James Tedesco again. It was scary to watch how he was able to just click into gear, and we couldn't contain him for that little period. Chloe, in the next 11 minutes, opportunities came and opportunities went, and we just couldn't seem to take them. With time starting to run out, the Dragons go a pretty low percentage crash play down a short side on last tackle for Jaden Sewer. And Sewer, his determination just gets him across the line and puts us up by 2 points. Were you confident they were going to confirm that try with the ball almost coming free from Sewer's grasp?
I was nervous. I was watching it and I was like, oh, please make it a try. Please make it a try. And I was like, come on, we need a bit of luck. And then when the last 5 minutes or not even 30 seconds, I was in a blur. But I was so glad it was 2 points that we were like behind, because I was just like, come on, Dragons, come on. So yeah, there was a blur after that.
Yeah, I know, Muzzer, you were one in the group chat that said you didn't think it was a try. Personally, I thought he had the ball, and he still had his hand on the ball when it hit the deck. I know if you watch it in super slow-mo, then you can convince yourself it's not. But you didn't think it was a try?
Oh, certainly not at first, and after a couple of replays. And I think it was more, I don't know if it was more that I didn't think it was a try, it was more that I thought that those things go against us and I would take it off him, I guess. But certainly the first couple of replays I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah,
but and then it kicked in that, it's the Dragons and they'll take it off us, and we'll have to start all over again.
Yeah, well, that's probably the next bit. 4 minutes to go. 4 minutes left on the clock. Moses Sully holds his ground and takes a great high ball with Joseph Suali'i flying over the top of him, only for Teddy to pinch it. What were you thinking at that stage, mate?
Just shattered. It was like I think, the start of the game, like you said, Roosters had it all. Then we've scored that try. The boys come back, they got back in front. We showed a bit of resilience, which we haven't done, in a lot of games, in most of our games this year. And then when we got in front again, we're thinking, we're going through another phase of the game. And then, Teddy's, not like you just talk about how Teddy just come to life, and, not a lot of players make that play, so Teddy's certainly one of the blokes to do. And then we're behind again. So, it was very, very nervous, and went on to the next phase to try and get back in front again.
Yeah. Well, Jesse, you are the lucky one tonight, as I'll get you to take us through that last try. But before you do, let's watch it again, because it's just so freaking beautiful.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that didn't work.
Have a go with Rabbitohs What's the game?
Right.
Imagine if the bunker had as many technical issues as we do.
Yeah, I wonder. Had it all set up, ready to go, and it just like the NRL.
So let's kick off.
So shit itself
Fickle
right at the wrong
things,
moment.
Fickle.
Oh Jesus! Now it's going to play an ad. All right, we'll can that. We'll just go straight to you, Jesse. You can talk us through that moment and tell us what happened.
Yeah, it was the gut feeling. Like I thought we had a try in us. I thought when the Roosters were up 22-18, I thought, yeah, we're not going to have much time. We have to come up with the miracle play. And then, it was about 20 seconds left on the clock, and it pretty much was the miracle play. Hunt going for the corner, and Lomax and Lindsay Collins actually went up for the ball, and then Lomax actually batted it back, ended up with Hunt. Hunt got it away to Bud, and then Bud kept the ball alive, passed it to Tyrell Sloan, and Tyrell Sloan saw the numbers out wide, and then he kicks wide, gets the beautiful bounce, sitting straight into the lap of Matt Vianney, and then he scores like a great try, awesome try, probably one of the tries of the season, and all the Dragons fans yell up at Cogra. They are jumping out of their chair. I was down at the local. I was jumping out of my chair. There was a lot of Dragon supporters there as well, and they couldn't believe it. They were jumping out of their chairs, and it was, as Andrew Voss said in the call, rugby league, you beautiful thing. Here come the Dragons. Here come the Dragons, and they did come, and that was one of the most magnificent plays and best tries I've seen, right on the bell. Yeah, it was magnificent to watch. I've watched it about 100 times on replay, to be honest. I could watch probably another 200 times. It was that great.
Hasman?
Yeah, just on that try now. Didn't Fine score right under the post? Because I'm absolutely certain that Lomax was taking the kick from about 5 metres to the left. I could have Fine went right underneath.
Yeah, so Sloan kicked it, and then it bounced up for Fine, and then Fine brought it round to the posts.
Yeah, but what Hasman's saying is that Sloan scored right underneath the post, and Lomax actually took the kick from 10 metres to the side of the post. It wasn't right in front.
Okay.
So yeah, Fine scored right under the post, and then Lomax has set up the kick about 5 or 7 metres to the left.
Well, I don't know. Let's take two and see if we can see exactly where he scores.
Kicks over the top. It'll come down 10 out. Collins was there. Play on. Still the last tackle. Big numbers left. Sloan decides to kick. Here come the Dragons. Here come the Dragons. Oh my goodness. Kicks over the top. It'll come down 10 out.
Yeah, we can just watch that on repeat all day. But,
all day.
I don't know. I think it's difficult to tell on that angle as to whether he did
There's
score
no
right
way
under
in
the
hell
post
that
or just
he
beside.
scores that 7 metres to the left.
Yeah.
Probably 3 metres to the right, if anything. But
maybe Lomax just doesn't like kicking from right in front, and just he moved it wider. I don't know, mate. But
just he
kicked it anyway.
Give himself an excuse if he misses.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's difficult to tell on that angle. I think he might have been a little bit before, going right underneath the post, but I don't think it matters too much. I've got to say, when Sloan kicked that ball, I didn't think he got quite enough on it. I thought he just underdone it, and it was going to be taken on the full by Paulo out there on the wing for the Roosters. I didn't think he quite got enough, but he measured it absolutely perfectly. Just got over his head, and great pickup from Matty Fine to pick that up. And I've got to say, the other thing that I thought watching it is, like, as soon as it bounced, I thought, well, they've got to do everything they can to try and keep that try out wide, because Lomax has then got to convert it. So the fact that the Roosters allowed him to run around and improve the position and put it right under the post, or a couple of metres to the side of the post, I thought it was a pretty ordinary play from the Roosters, and that might be something that Trent Robinson might be the most pissed off about, Jesse.
Yeah, I agree. I just looked at the so it was, the kick was taken right in front of the posts. It was just Lomax's positioning. He's run up to the ball. That's why it looked a bit to the side. His run up to the ball was to the left of the posts. He had the kicking tee standing position right in front of the posts.
Okay, yep.
So it was just his run up.
Fair enough. All right, Big T, I'd like you to talk to us about Tyrell Sloan's performance in this game. Obviously, he's the hero of all heroes for that amazing kick, coming up with the big play when it counted. But other than that moment, how would you rate his overall performance?
I'd probably give him maybe a 6 out of 10. He did miss a few tackles, didn't put his body on the line. He's got to learn to put his body on the line. There's a couple of tackles there that he just threw his arm out and they went around him, like it was Yeah, I'll probably give him a 6 out of 10. But overall, what he did in the game, I'll give him an 8.
I think a 6 is generous. I don't know what the stats say.
Oh,
he ran.
yeah.
He had how many runs did he have for not too many meters, Jesse? I know you've probably got the stats there pretty close.
11 runs for 34 meters.
Go Hasman.
There you go. 11 runs. 11 runs for 34 meters. I mean,
Yeah.
that's that's an area of his game he's really got to improve. There was a couple of times
But
where
also, you're going
I
to
thought he
also look
actually-
where he gets the ball. Where he gets
Well,
the ball. If he,
I
if he-
thought there was a few times where he got the ball from kick returns. It's like, just run as fast as you can,
yeah,
get to the defensive line, and you'll get 30 meters. But he stands and he waits for his winger to then come back and wrap around him and then gives him the ball and lets the winger take. Like,
and
by
that,
the time he's done that, like, you're giving up 20 meters there.
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
Just take
yeah.
the meters that are available.
Yeah, but I thought
Whenever
his
he
defense
passed,
lacked. I thought his defense lacked. That's where I noticed more in Sloan.
Yeah, that's his issue.
Oh,
He's got to work on
but-
that a lot.
I actually thought his defense was fantastic. Like,
But-
he came
but,
up with 2 dead set try-saving tackles. I know he missed one tackle on was it Kiri or something late in the game
Let's
there.
go,
where
maybe.
he got a fend and they scored a try. But he came up with 2 dead set try savers on Drew Hutchinson. One where early in the game where he sort of tackled him. He looked certain to score. Tackled him, spun him around, and he was about a centimetre short. And then there was another one where he just stopped him dead in his tracks where you thought he was going to score for sure. So I thought defensively he actually came up with a couple of really big plays. It was more an attack that where he should shine, where I thought he actually struggled.
Well, apart from that kick.
Apart from that kick, absolutely brilliant.
That's right.
Like, he's a confidence player, isn't he? So maybe that's the moment that gives him the confidence to go back. And we talked about it earlier. Like, over the course of the season, he's our second best player according to the panel. He's the second best player for the Dragons so far this year. So that shows how big of an influence he was having earlier in the year. But we've got short memories as Dragons fans, and we tend to forget that. We remember what he did last week, and the last couple of weeks probably haven't been that great. We'd love to see him get that confidence back and playing the best he can. Muzzy, you threw your hand up there?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out one thing that I wasn't happy with was when Amone made that break to almost set up that try that would have taken us to 18-0. Now that would have really sunk the Roosters, but it wasn't so much of the fact that Amone he's passed the ball way too early. Sloan hadn't got himself in position, but if you go back and watch it, the moment the ball hits the ground, Amone and Sloan look at each other, pretty much point at each other. The ball stays there. Olmate picks it up, hands it off to Teddy, who, in a great mood could have broken a couple of tackles and maybe scored on that play. The first instinct is you drop that ball. What do? You've got to cover it up. But they both basically looked at each other, pointed at each other, and let the bloke pick the ball up and give it to Teddy. And at that, I was really disappointed to see that, and I hope that gets addressed.
Yeah, it's a pretty good pickup. Jesse, did you notice this one as well?
So mine's more of a Tyrell Sloan thing, as we were touching on before. So Ben Hunt actually said in the press conference that he was screaming for Tyrell Sloan to kick it, and he really credited Sloan for icing that moment, because it's going to be a good thing for his confidence going forward that he can ice those moments in the bigger games, and he's got to come up with those plays more often. And yeah, Ben Hunt was very complimentary of Sloan icing that moment and getting that clutch play right in the big moment of the game. And it was a match-winning play, and hopefully he can get better with that going forward, because that was a great moment.
Well, yeah, I mean, once again, that's a moment where you expect a guy like Ben Hunt to stand up and ice the moment. But Ben Hunt, he switched from one side of the field, came down a blind side, gets the ball, puts in, quite frankly, a shit kick. It wasn't the best of kicks. It was like, oh, that's a bit of a dead play. That just puts it up and says, "Hey, Lomax, do your best, try and catch that, bring it down and score from 10 metres out. Hey, good luck, son." Lomax did his best. He knocked it back. kept the ball alive, and it was actually left up to one of the young fellas to come up with the actual key play to win it. But another case of Ben Hunt maybe not coming up with the right play at the right moment. Hasman?
Yeah, so the thing about that though, Donnie, is that the Roosters would have been expecting Ben Hunt to be the one to make the last ditch effort. So they were basically looking at him. So none of them, I don't think, would have been expecting Tyrell Sloan to be kicking anything. They would have been looking at Hunt or maybe Amon, but not. They wouldn't have been expecting Sloan to do that. So I think it was a fantastic decision on Hunt's part not to try and do it, because
it wasn't really Hunt's decision. Hunt's decision was to do it. Hunt did do it. He did take on that play, and he just didn't execute it. And it was ad-lib play that landed with Sloan. He had no choice. Like, it was either pass. Like, Hunt was obviously inside him. He was either pass or kick. And yeah, I don't think that was Ben Hunt's decision to give it to Sloan in that moment. That was just no other choice after the kick. The first kick that he put up was pretty ordinary.
What does Gus Good always say? Beware the second kick. It's always a killer.
That's it. I was just going to throw to you with exactly that line in mind, mate.
We think alike.
Okay, well, after the game, we have a team song, and just because I love hearing it, we'll try once again to go to the go to the screen, and let's have a look and go through the team song, and then Hasman, I'll give you a question after this. Well, there we have it. If that doesn't put a big smile on your face, then I'm pretty sure you're either dead or not a Dragons fan. But Hasman, we've had our gear steward leading the team song for the last few seasons, but after this win, it was a player leading the song in Jack de Belin. Do you think this is another move made by the new coach, or is this a player-led decision, or was there some other explanation as to why de Belin led the song instead?
But I think it was definitely a coaching decision, and I seriously hope that he sticks with that. I mean, de Belin, if any player deserved to lead that song, it was de Belin for the mammoth effort that he put in. I highly doubt it would have been a player's decision. I don't think that's really sort of something that the players would really have sort of charge of. I'd say it's definitely something that Ryan Carr's decided he's going to do. Just get one of the players to do it, rather than having the gear steward bloody do it, which is another one of the ridiculous bloody decisions that that Hawke made. I don't even know the guy's name, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think anyone does.
I can't remember his name before. I have been told it a few times, and I love the idea. I love the idea that there are other people outside of the players that are they're a part of that club too, and the guy behind the scenes that nobody ever sees is as passionate as you or I about the club, and that's the guy that's been there for 40 years. Let him lead the song. I love the idea of it. I think it's a really romantic gesture, but I think the team song after the game, that's for the players. Like I think that's something that anyone that's played the game, that's for the players. Like, that is a moment for them. It's not the coaches, not the coaching staff, no one else, but the players that were out there on that field, they get to have that moment. And so I think it was great to see a player back leading it. So I think, again, whoever it was that made the move, it coincides coincidentally with Ryan Carr coming in. So again, you'd have to say he must have had something to do with it. All right, Chloe, Dragons home crowds have actually been pretty good so far this season, and with a bit of positivity around due to with the club heading into this week, change in coach, team selections. Were you a little bit disappointed that only 9,007 people turned up?
No, because I was meant to go and I had to be at work. So 6 o'clock on a Friday is shit for people because I can't actually get there. So I apologize, but really 6 o'clock, if you have kids and they've got afternoon sport and you're still at work, it's hard. And to all the fans that go, people should get there. Maybe sometimes, like me, I can't just say, hey, I have to go to a football game. I have to leave early. So I'm sorry, fans, but sometimes you just can't make it. And I don't even drive. So I rely on public transport. So 9,000 on a Friday is better than nothing. So be grateful.
Yeah, no, I think that 6 o'clock Friday time slot is it's not the best. It's never the best. It's you're never going to get fantastic crowds here. It's actually not a time slot designed for having big crowds. It's a time slot for having big crowds at Jesse's local. So you probably had more than 9,000 at your local there, Jesse, cheering the boys on.
We had a few hundred. It's not that big of a venue, but it was full of Dragons fans, I will admit. But as Chloe said, like most people finish work over here about 5:30, and then Friday afternoon, like most bosses aren't going to let you go early just to go to watch a football game.
Well, I've got to be honest. My boss doesn't watch this show, so nobody let him know. But I live in Western Australia, so that's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon for me. This game, so I was feeling a little bit under the weather and had to go home early, just so I could get to the pub to watch this game. Like the boss wasn't going to let me go at 4 o'clock to go to the pub to watch the footy. So I had to tell a little white lie so I could watch the Dragons game.
And then tomorrow comes and they'll find out that you're not sick, and they're like, "What happened, Donnie? What happened?"
I'm better now.
Yeah, exactly. I've had a whole weekend to recover.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they really got to review that 6 o'clock. I'm not a fan of it either.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea of getting to a pub at 6 o'clock to watch the game. I know, Muzzer, you're a big fan of that time slot.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get home from work, crack a beer, sit on the back balcony. Yeah, but like I said, if you're living there, it's a terrible time to try and get there after work, and kids sport and all that sort of stuff. It's certainly not made for the crowds, like you said. That you won't see the NRL giving the Broncos a 6 o'clock Friday game.
No, not too often. I wouldn't have thought. All right, I've got another video that I want to show you now. Muzzer, I'll stick with you. We've got a video from Josh Kerr, and then I'll ask you a question after this one.
Hey, Dragons fans, thanks for sticking with us in all these tough times at the moment. We've got to weather the storm, and that's what we did tonight. We had a great win now. All the thanks to you guys. We love you as the ones that stuck strong and stuck by us. It's always darkest before dawn, and hopefully it's our dawn now. So we love you, Red V Army. Let's get another one. Hey,
Yeah, so, Muzzer, given we get to the end of the weekend and we look at the ladder and the Dragons are sitting right at the bottom in 17th spot, is this the dawn and it all gets brighter from here? Or is it all dark for the foreseeable future?
Oh, look, we all want to hope that it's the dawn, and they certainly proved that they've turned a corner in a way that they're playing their footy, and obviously Carr's brought in some different ideas. That 3 weeks ago we lose that game. I got no doubt on earth we lose that game 3 weeks ago. So they've showed some resilience, like I said before. I honestly do think it's a step forward. Well, I don't give a shit where we're sitting at the moment. It's round 12. Yeah, we might not make the 8 again yet. Probably, good chance we won't. But it's round 12. We'll see where we are at round 27.
Yeah, and I think that's a point I made with Jesse as well. He was a little bit concerned about the fact we're going to be sitting on the bottom of the ladder. And I know when you look at the ladder, it's not pretty. It's not fun to see your team right at the bottom. But I think it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant where we sit now. We could win every game from here on in. I don't think we will, but we could win every game from here to the rest of the season and finish as minor premiers. Like, anything is possible from here. And imagine, like, they'll make a fucking movie about us if we do that. So yeah, I think absolutely anything is possible from this point. And sitting on the bottom of the ladder now, well, it doesn't feel real good. It's also not the end of the world. I think it's been a good week. We've had a good week. We've had a win. We should maintain that positivity. And the fact that other teams did things that saw us drop further on the ladder, fucking irrelevant. Who cares what other teams do? We are in control of our own destiny. We can see ourselves move higher up on the ladder with good performances from here on out. And where we sit right now, it's not necessarily where we're going to be. Jesse?
Well, we could, sorry. It could have been worse. We could have lost and been last. So positivity.
Yeah, exactly. If we'd lost and been last, then I think everyone would agree with the negativity. But Jesse, you've got something to add there, mate?
Just on that, like, I was actually writing that Titans Bulldogs game for a little while today, and when I was lighting up, when it was 14, I was like, yes, Titans are going to win this, and then I saw it come back to 40. So I was like, here they go again. Here they go again. Then I was at work today, so I only saw bits of it. And then by the time 4 o'clock came round and my colleague said, oh, you're coming last. It's like, what? He said, oh, the doggies have won. I said, oh, you got to be kidding. Like, okay, we're last. But like you said, we can control our results. We can't control what other teams do. We have to worry about what we can control. We can't really control about how other teams are going to go, and we can't really control results. We just worry about what we can do, and that's all we can, and the rest will take care of itself. I think we may have turned a corner on Friday, and Ryan Carr's he's like a breath of fresh air. I really like his passion and enthusiasm, and the way he's brought different style of playing to the side. And if we can build off that and get a couple of wins together, who knows what we can do? But it's a promising start. Hopefully, we can build off that at Redcliffe on Thursday night against the Dolphins, because it's a step in the right direction.
The doggies winning just means we're a little bit closer to the Titans now. So there's another club that's closer to our sights than they otherwise would have been, because we're running them all down. We're on our way. Hasman?
Yeah. So just going back to that earlier point about the 6 o'clock Friday time slot. The Broncos between now and round 27 have precisely 0 Friday night 6 o'clock starts. All their Friday games are 8 o'clock.
Precisely 0 or approximately 0?
Precisely 0.
Oh fuck! Wow, that's big. Huge news. Huge if true. All right, Jesse, move into some questions from fans now. Everything NRL feels that we looked like a completely different team this weekend compared to the first 10 weeks, and wants to know if we can keep this form up. Do you think we can play finals?
I wouldn't say finals just yet. It's one win. If they can keep that up, I think the defense is still an issue. There's still gaping holes in their defensive line. But the attack's far better. I think Ryan Carr's letting them play eyes up footy. They're all playing for one another, ripping in for each other. That's something they didn't do under Hook. And yeah, like Buzzer said a little while ago, that we lose that game under Hook the other few weeks ago. But yeah, I thought Ryan Carr's ideas.
Was that Gus sinking the boot into to Hook again? That doesn't sound like Gus.
Yeah, I think we lose that game a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, See all the boys smiling and enjoying their footy, ripping in for one another. It's just refreshing to see that. It shows that they care and they do love the club. They want to see the club do well. I'm with them. I was actually crying when I saw the end of that game. That was how happy I was to see him win that. And yeah, it's been a tough week for us fans as well as the players. And I'm right behind Ryan Carr. I really hope he does well. And yeah, that's just a great start. And I really love this reaction. We're riding the wave of the game, barking orders through his walkie-talkie, banging on the doors, banging on the windows at full time. Like he was a cranky coach, really passionate, and that's what I love seeing from a coach. His reactions during the game, and
yeah, but I've heard you and Big T say the same things. Personally, I couldn't give a shit. I don't care whether the coach shows any emotion or no emotion, so long as the team wins. I think you're a good coach. I think there are coaches that show a lot of emotion that are good coaches, and there are coaches that show no emotion whatsoever that are also very good coaches. There are coaches that show lots of emotion that are shit coaches, and there are coaches that show no emotion, like Hook, that are shit coaches. So I think it's an irrelevant factor. I think it's fun to watch a coach that explodes on the sideline and carries on like Ricky Stewart, because when it doesn't go well, it gives you a lot of things to take the piss out of them about. But in terms of whether it's a requirement for a coach, I couldn't care less. It's not a big factor for me.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a requirement, but yeah, I just love it. And Trent Robinson's reaction was actually gold too. But yeah, as that for that, yeah. I just love that. I love that enthusiasm, and I can't remember I've loved seeing that much action in the Dragons coaching box for a long, long time.
Yeah, but I suppose in terms of the question from everything NRL, I tend to agree with your sentiments. It's one win. I think everything NRL might have gone off about as early as James Jimmy Gray usually does, and he's pretty premature. So. Yeah, I think there's a fair way to go before we're sitting in last right now. So to be contemplating finals and talking about finals after one win, yeah, I wouldn't even begin to start talking about that area just yet. Muzzer?
Yeah, just talking about James Jimmy Gray, just wondering what happened with that nudie run. If you can hit us up, mate, let us know what happened.
I've already asked him about that, and he said he's going to do it in December when he next comes over to Perth. So I guess I'm live streaming it. I'm not sure.
Half your luck. You drew the short straw.
Yeah, I might need the extra strong Zoom to be able to see anything.
Short straws.
You might want to wear a blindfold too.
Yeah, well, nothing I haven't seen before. But, Big T,
Yes,
Rob Saguna wants to know if we think we are better off trying to completely rebuild this team from the end of this season under a new coach, or should we be persisting with old players like Ben Hunt, or do you think we should be trying to push him out of the club?
I don't think we should be trying to push him out. I think he's still our best player. Or arguably our best player, because I think Jack DeBellin is. But yeah, no, you can't.
Well, Jack DeBellin's almost, is he as old as Ben Hunt, or he's not too far off?
He's a little bit younger, isn't he? 31?
I don't know.
He's 32.
Both pretty old. Both getting on.
Yeah.
Hunt's 33, DeBellin's 32.
I mean, under Rob's question, you'd be pushing both of them out.
Not there. I've been building the side around the younger guys. Sloane, Sullivan, Little, and Amone. I think Amone's going to come good. I'm sure of it. He might need a stint in the reserve grade, but no, he'll come good. I think we should build our team around them. We've got the back line. Our back line's under 25, apart from Ben Hunt. So they've got a few years yet before they start to actually become a backline, a functionable backline. So I think we're still 2 or 3 years away yet anyway. So yeah, build it around the young guys.
Yeah, I think the whole premise of Rob's question is, I want to get rid of Ben Hunt. Can we get rid of Ben Hunt? Do you think it's a good idea to get rid of Ben Hunt?
I don't think it's a good idea yet. He may want to leave at the end of the season. We don't know. So we'll wait till then. If he comes back next year, well, Sullivan's still waiting. He still can play 14. He can play 6. He can play 9. And it's the experience that he's going to get from those different positions, I think.
Yeah. Jesse?
Yeah, well, as you know, Hook, well, he was close to Hook, but I think he's cast that aside the way he played last night, because you show that he still cares about the club and he's still the ultimate competitor. He's a winner. Ryan Webb said the other day, he's out there to win. He's frustrated when we lose games. He's the ultimate winner, and he's there to teach these young guys. I think that's what he's there for at this stage of his career, to be there, and he's our marquee man. He's there to help our guys to develop and show what it takes to win these games and be NRL players, and they can learn a lot from his experience.
Yeah, I think the whole relationship between Hunt and Hook, I think it's been vastly exaggerated. I think that Hunt liked Hook. I think he liked him as a person. I think he enjoyed having him as a coach. But I really think the media has and the fans have completely overblown this relationship, that they're tied at the hip, and that Hunt was ever going to leave the Dragons just because Hook got sacked. Like, it was never going to happen. I think it's completely farcical. So I don't think there's any real truth to that, and I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Ben Hunt will be at the Dragons beyond this year and beyond the year after that. He will be here until his contract ends and he retires. He will be at the Dragons until he retires. So you can ask the question every week if you like, Rob, but Ben Hunt is not going anywhere. He will be at the club until he retires. So I don't think he's going anywhere. Chloe, Chris Holmes wants to know who will captain the team with no Ben Hunt this weekend.
Well, I've been looking at the chat that everyone's been talking about. So who do I? Well, Blake Laurie, but he's injured. Maybe Jack DeBellin. It's really all I can really think of. Like, someone that can talk to the referee, and maybe Jack DeBellin, but also maybe Ben Hunt's not there. He's in Origin. Listen, thinking that's all I can think of at the moment. Or maybe Zach Lomax, but.
Again, Zach Lomax is touted as a future leader, but he's only just back from being dropped. So again, that would be a meteoric rise. Dropped 2 weeks ago, and then within 2 weeks, he's captain of the side.
But you know what? I was thinking about him being dropped. I think it was Hook's way of telling him, but he did it in the wrong way. Like, I think, and we can go on about it all the time, but I think he did it in the wrong circumstance. He could have done it, like, for me, I think having Zach back is great, but I just think his confidence back before was really not him. That's why I used to be on him. And it's the same with Ben Hunt. Like, people say he's getting old and he's our leader, and I get that, but I have the likes of Sullivan and Amone, but I think if Sullivan and Hunt, I want to try Hunt and Sullivan, him 6, Hunt 7. See how they go. If Ben Hunt's going to be here next year, let's give Sullivan a go. Maybe Amone goes to 14. We've got to chop and change and try. We've had a bit more year, so let's try and rebuild and see how we go.
Well, Patrick Kiernan, he suggests in the chat that maybe we bring back Moses Mbai as a specialist captain.
No. What, to just sit on the bench and look pretty?
I just wondered, can you captain off the bench?
No, you'd have to start at 7, I'd imagine.
Oh.
What is with everyone's fascination with Mumbai? No, he'll be oranges.
I think everyone wants to actually take the piss, but I do think that the fact that Jack DeBellin's back leading the team song, that maybe his time away from leadership positions, his time in purgatory, his time out of the sun might be coming to an end, and maybe the leadership from the Dragons has decided that a guy that has those sorts of qualities despite the fact that of what's happened in the past. I've got to remember that he's actually been cleared of all charges and no wrongdoing. Right. So again, I think that he will be an option, but I think we've got to be prepared that if we name Jack de Belin as captain, there will be backlash.
Yeah,
there will be backlash. 100%. There will be a lot of do-gooders and whatnot throwing their hands in the air and saying, "I'll have a go at the culture of the Dragons Club, making a bloke like this captain." So there will be a reaction to it.
Is Jack Bird back this week? Next week? You know,
he's supposed to be back this week. He only had knee soreness and was only a late scratching in the fitness test on game day, so he'll be back.
We don't think he's captain material.
Well, he's another guy that's played State of Origin. He's got a lot of experience and I'm sure he plays the game with plenty of passion. So I think that he's got as much captaincy material as anybody else in our side, to be honest.
Someone actually suggested to me Jaden Sewer.
Yeah. No, but it's definitely an option. Another guy that's played Origin, been around for a few years, a young guy. I don't know exactly what his leadership credentials are like and how he goes talking to referees and all that sort of stuff. But I'd say he'd be another guy that could be in the frame. But it's going to be interesting. I think that the general consensus, there's a few different names. Rob Segurna says just make Jayden Sullivan captain. When he takes over at 7, he's going to be captain anyway, so may as well give him the job now.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
The season's gone. Give him a chance.
There's certainly been a lot of guys that have been given full-time captaincy at a similar age. I remember Nathan Kalis was only 21, 22 when he was made full-time captain of Parramatta. So to do it for 1 week.
Nathan Cleary's the same.
Jaden Sullivan's age, 21, 22. Why not?
Yeah.
Patrick Carrigan at Brisbane. He was he only played 20 games and he was captain already.
He was, yeah.
Like Sullivan's going to be the 7. He's going to be the guy leading them around the park. He's going to be the guy telling guys like Jack de Belin where to be and when to be there. Why not? Make the 7 the captain. I don't think it's the worst option at all.
We get a glimpse of our future too on Thursday, so it's going to be good. Good to see.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we've had glimpses before and haven't really liked what we've seen. So we'll see.
How little at 9 and men by 14.
I thought you were going to say by the halves for a sec.
14 be 14 for sure.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. So the next section we go into is injuries, sin bins, send-offs, possible suspensions, and other changes. I'll go to you, Hasman. The only player we had put on report had no case to answer. Can you explain to our listeners that might not fully understand the rules what it was that Lomax did wrong to deserve being penalised and put on report?
No, Donnie, I can't because I don't understand it myself. That was to my way of thinking, that was a perfectly decent bloody tackle. In fact, I thought it was a good tackle. What he's tried to do is he's tried to strip the ball. He's realised, okay, that's not going to work. I just got to put this guy on his ass, which is basically what he's done. He's the players, can't remember who it was, but his back's hit the ground, reasonably hard. Head was nowhere near it. That came about 10 seconds later. I do not understand what the penalty was for. And I certainly didn't think there was anything worthy of having a case to answer with the match review panel. And they've basically said, look, Hasman, you're right, it's complete bullshit. Just Drew Hutchinson. Well, he left the Dragon, so he deserves to be backslammed.
Yeah, no,
I think it was a whiplash.
I'll let you in on the reason why he got penalised, Hasman. And I thought you would have known this. Zach Lomax was penalised for being aggressive in a Dragons jersey. It is against the rules. You're not allowed to do that. So there you go. You've been let in on the secret. We've seen it. We've seen it over the last 4 or 5 years. Any Dragons player that is aggressive, penalty straight away. in the bin, suspended, rubbed out. You're not allowed to be aggressive and wear a Dragons jersey. Not in this day and age. It's not allowed. Stop doing it. So we've just got to be a little bit more pressy and just be calm, be relaxed, and just play the game nicely, boys. That's
don't bloody tell me. Tell Lomax and bloody Jack Bird.
I love their aggression at times, but it's just ridiculous. Always seem to get in trouble. Muzzle, I know you've got to go, so I'll skip one question, go to your one. We've got no Origin chat tonight, as the team will be named tomorrow. So we will talk about Origin a bit more on Tuesday's show. Still, we should count it as certain that Ben Hunt will be selected for Queensland. So I suppose, what changes do you think that will force Ryan Carr to make?
I think the only obvious choice is obviously Bud taking over at 7 and probably invited to the bench, I'd imagine. But there was word that Jack de Belin might have been an inclusion there in the squad, but I don't think so. But I would imagine that I'm not sure of Carr's thinking with them boys on the lines of what Hooks was, but that's what I think he'll do. I don't know what other sort of options we've really got.
Yeah, well, this was something that Jesse, you and I sort of spoke about a little bit in terms of what the options might be. But before we get into that, we'll say goodbye to Muzzler, because I know you've got to take off. You've got other duties to attend to. So I'll let you head off on that. But thanks for joining us tonight, mate.
No problem. See you all Tuesday night, hopefully.
See you, Muzz.
That's your mate. Yes. But yeah, Jesse, we sort of spoke about what other options there might be other than bringing Moses Mbai straight back into the side in that 14 role. What are some of the other options that you think that Ryan Carr, a slightly more innovative coach, might look to I suppose keep some youth in the side rather than bringing back a tired old option that hasn't worked?
Well, I would reward the 13 players that started the other night, and I'd keep them out there. Obviously, you're going to have Ben Hunt out with obviously Queensland Origin duties, and also Blocker, who's out with a broken hand. I'd probably promote Josh Kerr to the starting lineup, and
just talking about the 14 role. So Ben Hunt out, Jaden Sullivan to 7. We know that's the option that's going to happen. Who do you think are the other options to come into 14 other than Moses Mbai?
I'd look at Jack Bird as a 14. He can cover a few positions. He can play centre, 5'8", back row. I'd keep the faith with the starting 13 that got the job done last Friday. You don't change a winning team.
Yeah, it's not about changing that 13. It's just about looking at what options you've got to replace the. We've got 2 guys going out. I was going to ask Chloe about the who's going to replace Blake Laurie, but yeah, you were sort of talking about Jack Bird. You mentioned Paul Turner. You mentioned Connor Mullison.
Yeah. There's Jaden Hunt could also keep his spot on there. You could go with 4 forwards. Someone's even thrown a dark one out there. Nick Louis Tozo looks strong in reserve grade. I don't know how he's been going all season though. Your man Billy Burns, I'm sure you'd love to see Billy Burns get a recall. There's obviously a few options there. I don't know whether Ryan Carr will be looking for a utility player or will he look for a 4 forward bench.
Yeah. I think he'd definitely be looking for a utility. Definitely be looking for somebody to come in and fill in at 9 for me. So that's why I think he'll go with Moses Mbai. I don't think there's any doubt that Moses Mbai will be the 14 for this game for me. But I like the idea of a young guy like Paul Turner, who's going all right in New South Wales Cup. He's been brought to the side. He's been put into our top 30 as a utility option, a guy that can fill in at 6, a guy that can fill in at 1, a guy that's played in the centres, he's played on the wing. He's played a number of different positions, exactly the same as Moses Mbai. I'm sure he could jump in to 9 and give Jacob Little a bit of a rest as well if he doesn't have to fill in one of those other outside back roles. Hasman?
Yeah, so Jesse, just do you think Jacob Little plays 80 minutes and we basically end up with 4 forwards on the bench, or is there someone that you think could actually come in and basically fill that sort of replacement dummy half role? Who do you think? What do you think are our options there?
Well, as Donny said, he's probably likely to go to Buzz Empire. I personally wouldn't pick him. I'd look at a Connor Mullison. I think he's a specialist hooker. I'd love to see him get a chance at number 9. And he's our future. I think we should look down that path. Yeah, Moses Empire's, I think he's the past. You got to look to the future, as you said. And I think, I would give Connor Mullison a first grade debut on Thursday night.
Yeah,
That's just my view anyway, but unlikely to happen.
I think there's definitely a few options. But Chloe, Blake Laurie injured, set to miss 3 to 4 weeks. First of all, what impact do you think that will have on the team, and what changes will this force on Tuesday?
I think him out would be like, it's really like sad to see that he's injured, because he brings a bit of grit and, a bit of passion. So I'm hoping, I don't really know. I was thinking Jaden Stewart, maybe he could come in, or maybe, I don't know, Ryan Couchman, or was that the wrong position? I was looking it up. Someone, what do you think, Jesse? I'm not very good with the positions. I'm still learning. Or Toby Couchman, or is that the wrong position again?
Well, Donny said Toby Couchman identifies himself as a middle back row. Didn't you say, Donny?
But both of them, when they were interviewed at the start of the year, they both said they're edge forwards.
Okay.
So that they prefer to play on the second row. But Toby Couchman's played exclusively as a middle at NRL level. Ryan's played a couple of games in the second row for New South Wales Cup. He's played a bit in the middle. They're both exactly the same player, effectively. Like watching the two of them play, they play exactly the same way. It's impossible to tell them apart when they're both out on the field at the same time. You don't know which one it is, because they play the same way. They play the same position. They're obviously twins, so they look pretty similar. So, they're basically assume Ryan and Toby Couchman are the same person.
Okay.
I think Josh Kerr gets a start, in my opinion. I think he deserves a start.
Yeah, I was thinking of Josh Kerr too. Yeah, Josh Kerr. But yeah, it's without Blocker, I think I hope the young guys get a chance to come in and develop more and earn that spot as well.
And Frankie Muller played lock the other night. He could go up front too. There's options there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move now into a little bit of lower grades chat, and let's have a bit of a look at our New South Wales Cup highlights. From our win over the Roosters, we won 42 points to 22. Now let's have a bit of a look at the highlights and see if we can identify anyone that might be an option to come in to this side we're going to have to go through ads again. But yeah, we'll have a look at the highlights. I've got the sound for this one turned down just so we can talk through it as we're watching it. But unfortunately, the people that are watching the video at the moment just watching an ad that's going on. So having all sorts of trouble with this tonight. We'll eventually get it up and running. So first try, the Roosters, Trey Stewart just on the line. They go over from dummy half, and Connor Mullison says, anything you can do, I can do better. He burrows over from dummy half, carries 2 over to score a good try. And all these tries from reasonably close range. And this is Billy Burns. They really did, I think it's Siwa Wong, the 13 from the Roosters. They really targeted him. And we see Burns goes at him here once again. Late footwork as he catches the ball and just crashes over. Really simple, really soft tries. Here's the footwork from Turner. Great footwork on the Roosters fullback. There to stand him up, and a nice little individual try there from him. Again, coming in a little bit too far, there was Sione Finau, and the Roosters score that try to, and a bit of a mistake from Trey Stewart. He has a couple of shockers here in the second half. But here's Billy Burns' third try, and again targeting the Roosters that edge and going through to score a third try. All of them pretty simple, to be honest. Once again, Trey Stewart gets outrun by a massive human there. So you would have thought Trey Stewart would have beat him to the ball, but didn't. Zach Herring steps through again, targeting that same player, Siwa Wong, the 13 from the Roosters. His lateral movement got exposed in this game. And here's Viliami Fafita. Get the fuck out of my way. Goes across to score that try. So good to see him actually coming up with a really good play. We haven't seen the best from Viliami Fafita so far this season, but we see there the size of him combining with Alec Tuatavake as well, who tipped the ball onto him to set up the last try and ran straight over the top of the fullback. So fantastic stuff there from the Dragons. But I suppose anything that you saw there, Jesse, you're a reasonable man. How long can Ryan Carr possibly ignore Billy Burns if he continues to dominate opposition sides like this?
Oh, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm sure you'd love to see him back in first grade, but yeah, if the team keeps winning, I can't see him cracking the side anytime soon. If we continue to win for games of football, obviously it's good to see him in good form, and that's good for that side going forward. But until there's an injury or a suspension, like Hasman said in the chat earlier today, I can't see him getting back to first grade for some time yet.
Yeah, no, I think he's right on the cusp of first grade. If I'm honest, I don't think he's that far away. I think he's had another good performance at New South Wales Cup level. I think we're really short on edge forwards. He's only a young guy. I don't know that he did a lot wrong in the one game that he did get given. He didn't do too much wrong. Got a little bit tired. Maybe didn't quite have the motor, but a week in first grade would have done his fitness the world of good. And I actually don't think he's anywhere near as bad as you guys make out. But in saying that, despite the fact he scored 3 tries there, he didn't have to do a lot for them. They were really crash plays where somehow at that level he was able to go across and score. Like, you're not going to score tries like that in NRL. I wouldn't have thought. So yeah, that was that they weren't exactly the greatest, most fantastic tries that I was hoping to see when I saw he scored 3. So I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more fantastic than it actually was. But yeah, I think there's certainly a few guys in that side. I'll look forward to seeing what the stats suggest about Viliami Fafita's performance. But I've really liked the people saying Nick Louis Toso. I've really liked what Alec Tuatavake's done since he's got to the club. He'd be the guy I'd be looking at next. I think he's been sensational since he's come back from his knee reconstruction. He's getting better and better every week. He comes off the bench, plays 30, 35 minutes and runs 120, 130 metres every game. And he's got a really quick play the ball. I think he's a guy that will be looking to replace Josh Kerr next year. So I think the role that Kerr's played for us, he comes on, he's got a good offload, he's got a quick play the ball, he gets us on the front foot, he gets us rolling when he comes on and plays that great role off the bench. I think Alec Tuatavake looks like he can fill that role perfectly. Again, whether he can step it up to NRL level is another question altogether. I'll go to you, Hasman. While we're talking about Ryan Carr and his selections, tell me something you liked about his first week in charge, and was there anything you didn't like?
Well, as I said on the Tuesday show, the complete absence of Moses Ambai was a massive, tick in the box for me. And apart from that, he's basically stayed with the sort of the same 13 that Hook was playing with. Just seemed to do it a little bit better. And I think he's maybe giving them a license to sort of go out and play a bit of heads up footy, which is we just seen us get our first win in 7 games. So the old structures seem to have been thrown out the window as far as the attack goes. Anyway, defensive structures still got a lot to work on, but he's only been there a week, so let's not sort of jump down his throat just yet. But no, I can't say anything negative about him at this point. He's only been in charge for for a week, so you can't really make any sort of snap judgments at this point anyway.
He effectively had one training session with the team.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, ask that question in about 5 or 6 weeks, and we'll see what we'll see where we're sitting at that point, and be able to make a better sort of judgment then.
Yeah, I think my favourite thing and least favourite thing about Ryan Carr was probably the same thing. It was that he didn't take credit for anything that happened. He didn't take credit for any of the changes that were made. He did a 15-minute interview in the lead up to the game and answered all questions asked, but I think he was telling some porkies. He said that many of the changes he made, so all the changes that he made, the coaching staff led by Hook had already had these discussions about the changes, and that they actually weren't his changes, and he was just implementing the plans that Hook, himself, and Ben Wolf had already hatched.
Bullshit.
Umbai dropped for Sullivan as the utility. I can't see that being in Hook's plans, but
No.
Umbai wasn't going that well, and we were losing, and changes needed to be made. So maybe Hook had finally saw sense, and it was going to happen anyway. Maybe, I don't know. Lomax back in the team kind of makes sense, but given Hook had given him no feedback, and he only played one game in reserves, I doubt Hook was bringing him straight back into the side. Still, it's a possibility. But where Carr loses me is Lomax and Sully swapping sides. It's complete and utter horseshit for Carr to suggest that was Hook's plan all along. If that was the plan, then the one game Lomax played in reserve grade, he would have been on the right-hand side, but he wasn't. He was still on the left. I think all of these changes were made by Carr. I think he could see, like the rest of us, all the things that Hook was doing wrong that were just blatantly wrong. And I think he changed them. He made the decisions, and he should be the man getting the credit for them. So I think it's admirable that he tried to give the Hookinator some love and credit for these very excellent changes, but I think this relationship needs to be built on honesty and trust. So I hope that from now on, Carr can tell us the truth. Jesse, you had maybe a different take?
Well, Carr actually said it in the press conference. He actually asked Moses Sully, would you like, I'm looking to putting you on the left. And he said, Sully jumped at the chance. Lomax went back to his old kicking team. He had a much better kicking strike rate, 4 for 5. And then he brought Little back into the side, running dummy half. He looked great. And the thing that I liked about him too, like he said, every player that pulls on that Dragons jersey has a job to do. That's what I like about him saying things like that. Like, that's right. You know what you've got to do when you pull on that red V jumper. And yeah, he's got to instill that. I think he's instilled that in his players. Play for one another, do your job, and the rest will take care of itself. That's what I liked about it too. And he's as I said before, he's a breath of fresh air, and he sees things differently. And I think all the credit to the big turnaround last Friday night goes to him. He made these changes, and it's worked. And this is the best. I think this is the best side. So the best I've seen him play in quite some time.
Yep, Hasman. Before we wrap it up, I'm just going to throw to you for a final say on anything from Friday's win or Carr's first week or anything else Dragons related that you'd like to tie a ribbon on.
Well, just to sort of reiterate what I said earlier, I think Ryan Carr's made some very intelligent decisions just in the first week. I think he did a fantastic job, getting the boys prepared, in the wake of sort of what's been going on. And his own efforts in sort of selections and letting the boys play a bit more of that sort of flowing football that we know we've had success with. I think maybe we're sitting here in 6 weeks' time, asking the question: should Ryan Carr be brought into the conversation for head coach?
Yeah, well, I think that's a question that unfortunately some Dragons fans are already starting to ask. I think we've got to be careful going down that road. Certainly after one win, but we've also got to remember. I think Mary won. I think 8 out of 12 after losing his first game as interim coach, and we gave him a 3-year contract, and we know how that turned out. So I don't know. I'd be very wary about hiring an underqualified interim coach just because he has a couple of wins as the interim coach. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how we continue to play. But once again, I'd like to thank everyone who was tuned in for tonight's show, and hope to see you again for a chat on Tuesday, where we're hoping to have Brian Seeney on the show, better known as the NRL physio. He'll be joining us for Behind Enemy Lines. We've had a win, and it looks like there's a sliver of light in our dark tunnel. Better times appear to be ahead of us. So come on, Dragons fans. Fire up!
Fire up.